Hey, good morning. I have the pleasure today of introducing a young man, still young man that I know very well, a 1996 graduate of Missouri Valley College, the senior vice president of Alliant Insurance Services, and my friend, Mr. Steve Allen. Steve was an accomplished wrestler here at Missouri Valley College. He's a national champion. He went on to his first college job, or first high school job, in Tennessee, and won a state championship. Went back to his hometown in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and helped them win 9 state championships. Along the way, he won age group national championships for the state of Oklahoma. He's been a winner at every level that he has touched. He is someone that is dedicated to public service. He's full of a lot of great ideas, and that's evident by his long term as the president of the school board of Broken Arrow High School, over 14 years, which is unheard of in its own right. He is a man that embodies excellence, a man that has drive, a man that really doesn't take no for an answer, and will strive to be something different. He grew up a little bit different maybe than others. His life was not easy, although he sets well today. His life was not an easy start. So, if you will, from championship wrestler to esteemed leader, corporate executive, I'd like to introduce Mr. Steve Allen.
Thank you. Everybody hear me okay? All right. Hey, thank you all for having me. Thanks for the invitation. This is very special to me today. Not only I get to share my story, but I get to share it with many of the people in here that were an impact in my life and helped me get to where I am today. Some of them sitting at this table, some of them sitting in that chair, one of them on that camera back there that's leading your institution. So it's an honor really for me, and I feel like I'm at church because I'm going to give a testimonial about my travel here and where I started and where I'm at today. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, then I'm going to tell you what I do for a living and what I've done for a living, and I'm going to tell you my life story about where I got to where I am, because I was you sitting there one day at this college, by the grace of God, of many of these people in this room that helped me be here, and I'll tell you why. But confused, not knowing really what the next step of my life is, where my job's going to be, what my career is going to be. I've changed careers a couple of times, but again, my name's Steve Allen. I'm a 1996 graduate of Missouri Valley College. To tell you a timeline, I graduated high school in '89, so do the math. There's a lot of time in there, right, to get a 4-year degree. So, and I'll get to that and those reasons why, and hopefully it inspires you as you move forward and when you have kids and things like that to have patience. But I'm now currently the Executive Vice President for Alliant Insurance Services. I'm in the commercial insurance industry. I've been doing this, this is my 24th year in the industry. I started out my professional career, I was a education major here at Missouri Valley College. So got an education degree, like Coach said, I was in Kentucky, my first job, and I'm going to talk about this. All aspects of my life, Missouri Valley College has played a role in my life and touched me, from helping me get my degree, to getting my first career started, to getting to where my career path is today. Coach helped get me my first job in Kentucky. I was at Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I moved on from Hopkinsville, Kentucky to Broken Arrow. I was a teacher and coach there for several years. And then I got into the insurance business in 2000. So I was in the insurance business. I started on the direct writer side, which when I got in business in 2000, I started what's called a direct writer. Everybody heard of State Farm? Farmers That's considered what you call a direct writer in the insurance industry, writer. So I worked for a company called Federated. I was there 5 years on that side, and I moved to the independent side, which is really where a person like me or you can own your own agency and are truly the owner of the agency, and we just represent multiple insurance companies. So I moved to that side, and then I ended up purchasing a company 14 years ago called Commercial Risk Group. I was the owner of that company. And this is the reason I want to say this. This is not going to be braggadocious or whatever, but I want you to know you can do what I've done, and I'm going to tell you why. I sold my company as of September 1st for 7 figures. As of September 1st. It set my wife and my family. I'm married. I got 2 children. One wrestled here for Coach Mockles at one time. So I was blessed enough to be able to sell my business September 1st, and now I am an employee of Alliant Insurance Services, Executive Vice President. So now I'm on a contract just trying not to get fired for 3 years. So that's what my goal is. So that's a little bit what I'm doing now. Let me tell you my story. I was raised in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I was raised by a single mother. Anybody here raised by a single parent? Yes, sir. I've never seen my father in my life. I don't know what he looks like. Couldn't tell you. I seen a picture of him one time, and that was it. I was raised in a very, very, very poor household in Broken Arrow. But one thing I had a mother that believed in me and was never going to not let me do without. But there were times growing up where I had to take bath, a shower with no hot water, no electricity. We ate a lot of bologna sandwiches back in Oklahoma back then. But I was raised by a single mother, worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs. She did whatever it took to make sure that her son had what he needed. And she did. It may not have been the coolest thing, the nicest thing, but it was something to help me in opportunity. But one thing she always made sure of, that I was going to be involved in athletics. She was going to keep me engaged in something to make sure that I stayed off the streets and stayed out of trouble. Stay out of trouble part was a little bit difficult for me as I went through life. So go through school, you know, as any young man with a single parent. I get to junior high, I get in a little trouble. My single mother puts me in a boys' home. So I get put in a boys' home in 7th grade. So my 7th grade year, I get put in a boys' home. Everybody know what a boys' home is? Raise your hand if you know what a boys' home is. Boys' home is where they put you, where your parent chooses to put you before the state criminal system puts you there. That's what a boys' home is. Because I was out running around, I was hanging around with the wrong crew. My mom felt it was best for her to put me in this institution called the Tulsa Boys Home. If you ever get bored and want to Google Tulsa Boys Home, you'll see what their mission is. It's a great institution. So she put me in that boys' home. I was in that boys' home for 1 year. So basically, I went to voluntary jail for 1 year in 7th grade. They sent it to a public school. I went to a school called Sandy Springs Clyde Boyd Junior High for my first 7th grade year, for my first year of junior high there. I didn't get to see my mom for the first 6 months that I was in the Tulsa Boys Home. And as a young man that was raised by a single mom, you want to talk about a dark time in your life, thinking, what in the world am I going to do? You know, the only person I know that's loved me my entire life, that's ever been there for me, I can't see her for 6 months. So then after 6 months, I got visitation to see my mom every week and had to earn that visitation. So got out of the boys' home after 1 year, and I went back and I graduated Broken Arrow High School. And went on to get a wrestling scholarship at a school in Garden City, Kansas. Garden City Junior College. Went there to wrestle. And believe it or not, I actually got recruited to play soccer too. And I was going to try to play here, but Coach Mockles wouldn't let me. Coach Mockles was my college coach here, by the way. Coach Jimmy Heisler was one of my college coaches here. Dr. Joe Parisi was a teammate and a coach of mine when I was here. So there's a lot of people in this room that's played an impact in my life, and I'll tell you the story when I get to them. I think Coach Heinzer owes me some money he won on a bet he made on me. So, but I went to high school, went to junior college, left junior college, thought I was going to be an NCAA wrestling champion, and went to Oklahoma State University. I arrived at Oklahoma State University. I did really well. Beat the defending national champ off our junior college team, thinking, yeah, I'm going to be a great wrestler. And got to OSU. We were put on probation by the NCAA. So practices and everything, the structure was very limited at the time. They're naming an interim coach. So I had the bright idea I was going to join a fraternity, which is the last thing I needed, was to be in a fraternity. And I needed to have a coach on me all the time. But I joined a fraternity for about a year and a half, did the school thing, and Oklahoma State sent me this very kind letter and said, your grades are not very good, you need to take some time off. So I wasn't meeting academic standards, and they asked me to leave. I was no longer allowed to be a student at Oklahoma State University. So that was the academic side that I've had to have the hurdle of. I had the running kind of with the law, so to speak, and then I had this academic side of, I didn't value academics. I just wanted to go there, have fun, and be an athlete. So I was at home, pumping gas at a gas station, and taking care of my grandmother who was battling cancer at the time. And a friend of mine calls me up and says, hey, there's a school in Missouri called Missouri Valley College. I'm going there on a recruiting trip to play baseball. And they have a wrestling team. What do you think? And I was like, well, heck, if they'll let me in, I'll go. It beats pumping gas. And so I was talking to the coach. I never forget, I was at my grandmother's house, and she'd just been put on hospice. She wasn't expected to live very long. And so there was a recruiting set up for that weekend. Well, she wasn't expected to make it through the weekend. And my mom was on the phone with coach, and of course my mom, they were like, listen, your grandmother would want you to go on that recruiting trip. So I come up on the recruiting trip to Missouri Valley College. It was great. Met Coach Mockles, Coach Hutter was here at the time, and they made me the offer, and I accepted it. And during this time on my trip, my grandmother passed away. She was really like my second mother. When you're raised by a single parent, grandma's usually the house you go to. So I went to grandma's house quite a bit. And so she passes away. So it was, pretty tough for me. And I'll never forget this. So I go back home. I'm emotionally, I'm not in a good spot, but I knew I needed to get myself somewhere. And Coach Mockles gets on the phone with my mother and says, listen, and I'm a single mom. I don't have any people that's ever graduated college. I'm a first-gen graduate in my family. Anybody here first-gen going to college? Yeah. First-gen. Most of my family couldn't spell college. And a lot of them were in jail, in prison. My uncle went to prison. My cousin went to prison. My aunt went to prison. Multiple family members in prison. And Coach Mockles called my mom during one of these most difficult times of my life. Said, I promise you, he comes here, we'll get him a degree, he'll graduate college. And so I come to Missouri Valley College. First year here, wrestled 177. I'm a NAI National All-American first year here. So great year, come back. And I had great coaches, I tell you, a lot of great coaches. And I'm sorry I'm moving around a lot. I'm kind of nervous. I don't speak a lot in front of people. So, but I love telling my story. And so I come back the next year, and I told my roommate, I said, I'm going to be a national champion. You watch. I'm going to be a national champion. So 177, come back, wrestled, did really well. Wrestled defending national champion at a tournament, kicked his butt, beat him by like 10 points. Defending national champ at 177. So then we have a duel. We have a kid on our team that comes up and says, hey, tells coach, I can't make weight. It was against one of our biggest rivals. Back then, it was either Lindenwood or Labette was our biggest rivals. And I'm sitting there, as dumb as I was and as hard-headed as I was, because I knew we had a guy behind me, I told coach, heck, I'll make it. I'll make 167. Well, you're at 170. How much you weigh? And I said, I don't know, 190. I'll make it though. If it's for the team, I'll make it. And so I pulled down 167. I think I had like 7-8 days to make it. Got down there, made weight. And so I made weight, ended up wrestling 167. The rest of the year, I ended up being a national champion at 167. First ever national champion in any sport in the history of the college, is what they told me at the time. I don't know if that was true or not. They might have lied to me. Heck, I don't know. But I thought it was true. But you know, when I was in high school, I was never, ever the best on my team. I was always a guy that was pretty good. I was, you know, had talent, but I was never the best. I got second in high school state. I won a regional championship, but I'd never been at the pinnacle at the sport that I had participated in. So I didn't know what success was from an athlete standpoint. And I'll never forget the national tournament. Getting ready for the national finals, sitting there in the tunnel. Coach Heinzler's over here. Principal Heinzler's in my ear. He goes, "Don't screw this up. I got money bet on you." Yeah, I'll never forget it. Him and Coach, the late Coach Roark, they bet some other coaches that I was going to win the national tournament over their guy who was ranked overseas number 1. And it's like, okay, no pressure. Let's go have fun with this. And but winning that tournament, I remember someone sent me a video the other day of it, and it just reminded me, you know, I'd finally gotten to the mountain of everything you want to achieve, the ultimate goal in your sport, to be a national champion, and I'd done it. And it was humbling for a while anyways, and you should always be humbled by it. But I took it for granted. And I'll tell you this, I came back, I had a chance to come back the next year and be the first ever 2-time national champ. And I didn't understand how to handle success. I knew why I was successful, because I was surrounded by great people. I was surrounded by great coaches. I was surrounded by great wrestlers on my team. And, you know, looking to where I'm now, that's no different than why I'm successful, have been successful in my business career. I've always surrounded myself with people better than me. I've always surrounded myself with great people and overachievers. I always surround myself with people with winning mentalities. You know, the people I work with every day are those that look at failures as opportunities, not hurdles. And that's why I was successful. And but I didn't handle it very well. I wasn't humbled. So I came back that following year to wrestle 167 again, and I had to go part-time in the fall because of the way the credit hour situation worked. And I didn't do a very good job of it. I partied a lot, made bad decisions, and I put a lot of good people in a bad situation. I was out having a good time one night, did some stupid stuff, and Coach had to come to me the next morning and kick me off the team. And you're probably thinking, well, why in the hell are you still friends with him? He kicked you off the team. You're returning national champ, right? And everybody be mad? Who'd be mad? Raise your hand, be mad. Would you be mad? Be honest. Be mad at you. I'm national champ. You just kicked me off the team. I was for a minute. I was very mad for a minute. I was like, how dare you? But here's what he told me. Remember I told you, he told my mother he was going to promise her that I'd graduate college? He said, "You're not leaving and going home." Because I could have been a victim right then. I said, it's your fault, it's not my fault, and not taking any accountability. But I had to take accountability if I was going to overcome this situation. And what he told me was, you're not going home. You're going to go rent this house over here. You're going to work this job, and you're going to reapply back at the college in the fall, and you're going to be my assistant coach next year. So, why are you doing that? Well, I promised your mother you're going to graduate. Remember I talked about a lot of special people in this room? They're in here. They care about you. Because what was the easiest thing for him to do when he told me I was leaving? I was no longer on the team. Go home, right? You're just another dude. You're just another stat. I'll go find another person that wants to come here and be a national champ. He didn't do that. The school didn't do that. The school allowed me that. They had to make a decision. And it wasn't their fault they had to make the decision. It was my fault that they had to make that decision. But he made that promise to my mother. And that's what I've always remembered about this place as I went through my life after I got out of here, was how much they cared about me. You know, and that's one thing as I moved through business and I've moved through life conducting business, people don't care how much you know. They just want to know how much you care. And that's how I've conducted myself doing business, just because of the impact that it made on me with how much they cared. And so he got me back in school. I worked my tail off, though. I had to work at the daggum concrete company. That was no walk in the park. And got me back in school, was an assistant coach, got to work with Coach Makos, Dr. Parisi. We won the first ever 2 college national championships at the college. And then I was off. I was off to get my career going. And like I said, I went and coached. And then I got in the insurance world. I don't think you guys understand the place you're in here. I don't think you understand the people that are at this institution and how much they care about you. You know, I've been pissed off for 53 years at Earl Wellborn until the other day when I just realized. Dr. Wellborn used to give me the hardest time. Anybody know who Dr. Wellborn is? Education guy? Ask some of your education majors. They'll tell you exactly who he is. I always carried a spur with me about him until I started thinking about this and thinking about coming up here and talking. Dr. Wellborn was tough on me. He wasn't very nice. But all he wanted to do was for me to show that I was committed to him and the program before he committed to me. And I just realized that. Why should he give to me when I'm not even committed to him? And it made me think about that. It's like, damn, it took me 53 years to figure this out. But I'm like, all right. I'm going to go hug Dr. Wellborn when I leave here today, because I ain't mad at him no more. But there's a lot of people here that care about you. But you got to do your part. You got to be committed. You got to surround yourself with winners. Surround yourself with people that are better than you. Don't make excuses. Be okay with being held accountable. Don't be the victim. Be responsible. You know, I'm in the insurance business, and I'll tell you a little bit about the insurance business. I'm in what's called property and casualty insurance. Everybody ever heard that term before? We got home and auto insurance, right? We do that for the business side. And it has to do with sales, and it has to do with risk management and risk reduction plans. And if you ever want to make money, it's a great industry to go into. The average age in our industry is 65 years old. It's an aging workforce. I was able to buy my business with zero money out of my pocket or have to borrow $1 and buy my business. So it's a great opportunity in the insurance business to make a great living, to have a great career. I get to help on a professional level to be a trusted advisor for businesses and help protect their assets on a daily basis. They can go home and sleep at night and know that their business is protected from an insurance standpoint and not have to worry about loss. So it's a great industry. There are some colleges that have it. We need more youth in the industry. Some people may not like to sell. I had no ambitions of selling when I came out of school. All I was going to do is be a coach. If you were telling me I was going to have to go walk into Mr. Houston's business and say, hey, let me talk to you about your insurance, I said, you're crazy. There ain't no way I'm going to talk to anybody about anything. Now, you want to do a single leg or double leg, we can talk all day, but I ain't going to talk to you about trying to sell you something. So, but if you want to get into an industry where you get residual income, anybody know what residual income is? It means when I sell something, I don't have to go sell 10 more products to make up for it after I've already sold that one. I'm going to get paid year one. When I renew it, I'm going to get paid year two. When I renew it, I'm going to get repaid year three, or my commission structure out of that. Anytime in sales you can find a residual base of earnings, it's a great business to go into, a great opportunity to create a lot of wealth for yourself and some income. You know, because what I was able to do is, anytime I want something or anytime there's an expense that I think I know I have coming and I'm a little short, all I got to do is go out and sell something. I've got a product, I've got a need, I've got a product that people have, people need, and people are going to pay for. They're going to pay for my product, but also they're going to pay for my service. So I provide a great service, we provide a great product. And if you get residual income, a business that provides you with a residual income, look into it, inquire about it, see if it's something that fits you. I would encourage you to get into a residual income type of business. I was able to build my book of business up to a certain amount, and I knew what my earnings were going to be every year, within a couple of points, depending on the market. So, anybody have a question about insurance? Someone asked me about internship, other internships. I believe I don't really know a whole lot about my current company because I just started in September. I just know where the copier is now finally. So, really my point of my story today is to tell you I was once you sitting in those chairs. I've had nothing given to me. I've earned everything. Hard work, dedication, wonderful, wonderful people that cared about me, that saw more in me than I saw in myself. I gave them plenty of opportunities to quit on me, and they didn't. Don't ever doubt what Missouri Valley and the greatness that it has to offer you here. There is greatness here. There's wonderful people in this room today that give to this college. You know, I do get to serve. I get the pleasure and honor really to serve on the board of trustees to help this college from a board standpoint. I have some wonderful people I get to serve with that care about this college as well. As you get older in your life, I would encourage you to have an attitude of gratitude, to find ways to give back and be grateful for what you had, and then how you can help. I tell my kids, and I try to preach this to them, you know, we're not getting out here alive, right? There ain't nobody gonna get out of this thing alive. So whenever people come to talk about Steve Allen, I don't give two flips about how much I have. I want to be remembered about how much I gave. How much time did I give? How much did I give as a husband to my wife? How much did I give as a father to my children? How much of my talent, time, or treasure did I give to this institution that gave so much to me? You guys need to remember that. Try to live by that. Money doesn't mean success. To me, my journey has been success for me. If I had $5 or $50 million, my journey has been success. The people that have inspired me and been a part of my life, that's my success. To be able to know these people, to have relationships with these people, that's more valuable to me than money. And you're going to develop those here. I have a lot of my friends today from here my teammates that were on other sports. I went to school with Mr. Carney over here, a friend of mine. I've got many of them that I still talk to today. Develop those friendships, value those friendships, don't take them for granted. Don't take them for granted. Tell your professors thank you, because they care about you whether you think it or not. Tell them thank you. It's okay. It's okay to like your professor. You don't have to be like me and hold a 53-year grudge against Mr. Wellborn. Now I got to go hug him today before I leave and tell him thank you. But I'm not going to tell you how to do business. I just want to share my story, my feelings. As you can tell, I care about this college. I'm going to continue to do what I can to help you all have the most successful experience here from a board perspective, from a private alumni perspective. So there's just not a whole lot more I can add, just to say thank you to these people that are here that came today to talk. And I hope that inspired one of you. And one of you that's been that has a life situation comparative to mine knows that you have a chance to be successful. Hard work, it's not going to be easy. You're not going to show up. You're not going to get hired on Monday and be the CEO on Friday. You're going to have to work hard. You're going to have a game plan. And really, it's just like athletics. You're going to have to be willing to outwork your opponent every day. There's no secret. I'm not going to give you the Dave Ramsey speech, but there's no secret sauce. It's hard work, it's discipline, it's dedication. And I applied my wrestling principles to my business life and helped me get where I am today. And again, my foundation was laid by many of these people in this room. And I'm forever grateful. I'm honored to be here to talk to you, to share my story. Again, I feel like I'm at church and give you my testimonial. But really, every one of you can do exactly what I've done, but at a greater level. And surround yourself with winners every day. Look at your failures as opportunities. Don't look at them as hurdles. Look at them as opportunities. Every time you have a failure, look at it as opportunity. And be grateful. Be grateful. Don't wake up every day, well, I got to go to class, or I got to go to practice, or I got to go to work. Have a get-to attitude. I get to go to work. I get to go to practice. I get to go to class. So I can assure you, it can always be worse. I've been it. I've experienced it. Be grateful for your opportunity. Be grateful that you get to do these things every single day. And you get to do them here at Missouri Valley College. This place is a great place. It's a great place. So, but I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me. And I'm open to any questions.
Thank you, Steve. Does anyone have any questions for Steve? If you have a question, raise your hand. Any questions? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Milan will bring the microphone back to you. And if anyone else has a question, keep your hand up and so she can get to you while Steve is. Give your name and your question, please.
Kinley Raby. So you talked about like being a victim after he kicked you off the team and stuff. Was there any point between that 7th grade like boys' house and that happening that you thought it's not worth it, I want to go down the opposite path, like it's too much? Or
Sure. Well, one, you won't believe this, but I really found out how much my mother loved me, because we sat down I'll never forget this, we sat down in our house. She caught me sneaking out. I snuck her car out. This is 7th grade now. I snuck out my window, snuck her car out. You know what she did? She locked my window in my bedroom, so I had to come through the front door. I was like, crap, I'm busted on this deal. And she sat me down. I'll never forget it. It was dark. We're sitting there. She's sitting in a recliner. I knew how much she loved me because she was doing this to save my life. And when I got out of there, I knew I didn't want to do that no more. There's got to be a better way to do things than that. So yes, I did not want to go down that path. And it's surrounding yourself with winners, right? I surrounded myself with winners, people that were better than me. They weren't going to do those things. And I did not want to go down that road no more. Now, the thing about getting kicked out of Valley, it wasn't about the people I was hanging around. It was about the decision I made with alcohol and being smart and being responsible. I was not smart or responsible. So that path I was going down was leading to prison. The decision I made was a poor decision. I had to suffer the consequence here And that's how life is. So yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, you said you had your own insurance business, and you bought it. So I was wondering how you got into the insurance industry in the first place, and then how you ended up having your own business.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that. So you remember how I talked about Missouri Valley has impact in all aspects of my life? So Missouri Valley helped me get my first teaching and coaching job. So I was getting out of, I was a single father at the time, and I knew, not seeing my dad, there was no way in heck I was not going to be around with my son. And teaching and coaching kept me from being able to go to his practice or do things with him, or I was going to be gone on the weekends. So I went to look for a sales job in the pharmaceutical sales industry. And I was actually getting ready to get hired by a company called GlaxoSmithKline in the sales business, because they like teachers and coaches. They like athletes. A lot of these sales companies love athletes because you're disciplined. They know that you got to show up to practice on time every day. You got to follow rules every day. And typically, if you're part of an athletic team, there's high expectations. So those are all things you want in the sales industry. So to your question, I had a friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine, that went to Missouri Valley College, and she was in the insurance industry. And she knew I was in Oklahoma, and she called me and said, hey, our company has a job opening with our insurance company. Would you be interested in talking to the manager? Absolutely. Well, I went and talked and interviewed. The manager happened to be an old high school football coach. And we hit it off well. And hey, listen, my first job, I made 30, in teaching and coaching, I made $34,500. My first year, or when I was teaching and coaching. That was being the head wrestling coach of our high school, $34,500. They were offering me my first job, had zero experience in sales. I was making $75,000 more a year, $75,000 more a year than what I made teaching and coaching. That wasn't counting commissions. That was just my base salary. A guy that had zero experience, but they knew I was an athlete. I had had success as an athlete, and they wanted me to be part of their team. So what I did, this is how I bought my business. So I went over to the independent side. I went to work for this gentleman in my local town. His name was Marvin Lloyd. He owned Commercial Risk Group. So I was working for him. We were small. We had there was only 2 or 3 sales guys, office staff of about 4. And he got sick one day. He had something on his knee, and he got sick. He was in the hospital. And then the lady that was kind of the second command, she fell off her horse and broke her hip. So she wasn't in the office. So in a small business setting, when you got your 2 main decision makers gone and nothing's getting done, you're like, well, am I going to get paid? Can we conduct business? Can we make decisions without them here? So it was very difficult. So I was like, you know what? We need a perpetuation plan. What's going to happen when they are, and they were older, so what's going to happen when they're gone? So I just went to him and said, listen, I want to buy the business. Okay. You're this year's old, you're getting out, I'm just now getting started. And so we put a plan together, a perpetuation plan. And the way it worked, I paid no money out of my pocket, was we just did it on his retained commissions. When his commissions came in, he got paid. So we put him on a 5 years we paid him 25% for 5 years to buy the business out. So it was no money out of our pocket. It wasn't money, we were already making the money. He either would have got his commission, or we would say, hey, we're doing this perpetuation, and we'll give you 1.5 times what the value is of your book of business, and we'll buy the business. So we paid him out for 5 years. Maybe it's at 30%, because that's 150. So I told you, I'm not a scholar of math. I just sell. But we paid him 1.5 times his commission over 5 years, and we didn't pay any money out. once I bought it. So I bought the business about 14 years ago. And there's another, in our town, there's another competitor called the Arrow Group. So we were very heavily involved in our community together. And I was on the school board at the time, and, or still am, and they wrote our insurance. And it's like, hey, we're involved, we love the community, why don't we form a joint venture? So we formed a joint venture together. The only reason we didn't do a merger because I was on the school board, and they'd written the insurance since the 70s. And by law, I could own a certain percentage of that business. So we just did a joint venture. But it was great, it's great. Best decision ever made. Zero. I have had zero debt since I owned my insurance business for 14 years. I owe the banks zero money. The only time I went to ask the bank for money was during COVID, because I didn't know that the COVID relief money was going to come. I just went and asked for a line of credit because I didn't know what was going to happen. Business is going to shut down, our revenues was going to shut down, because if businesses are out of business, they're not going to purchase insurance. So, but yeah, I spent $0, and that's how I end up buying them out from a perpetuation standpoint. Now, what you can do today, though, if you want to get insurance, you can go. Some of these direct writers have branch programs where you can go in and start working for someone, and then you can buy their book of business out. So you purchase their books of business out. You don't buy them dollar for, like you're paying out of your pocket. You just pay them out of those commissions. So really it's sweat equity is the way you're paying it out. You're working that business, you're renewing that business, you're providing services to that business, but it's not costing you any money to go to the bank or leverage any assets or anything like that. No. Hope I answered your
Any other
question.
questions? Got time for a couple more.
I got time for you all day. Don't care what he says.
We'll have a breakout session. He can stay all afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I'm Lorenzo Faggiani, and I was about to ask you a question about the homes boy, because you know that sometimes people that have problem with their parents, they got put in the homes boy, and sometimes those situations can drive them crazy. Like sometimes it happens that people that goes to homes boy, in the end, they just fight back against the system, you know, or against the state. So I wanted to know, and I was wondering, how did the homes boy help you? Was the way they treated you, or was it like just your way to see it? Like you saw the homes boy as an opportunity to change, or they treated you that like good that you could change your vision about your future?
Yeah, I'll tell you one reason why. They had this big playground at the boy. I was in what's called 8 cottages. It was 3 cottages, A1, A2, and A3, and then there's this playground system where you go out in these fields and play. First time I go out there, I got hit right in the lips. Dude just bust me in the mouth. So I had to make a decision, right? Am I going to be a guy in here fighting all the time? Because the way it worked was, their system was you earned freedoms. You earned things you could do. It was on a merit system. If your grades were good, we had chores every day. We made breakfast. We cleaned the cottages. We cleaned the campus. Everyone had a chore list, and it was up on the wall. And if you met the merit system, they would take you roller skating. If you didn't meet the merit system, you may not get visitation. So it was really, I was earning my way out with good behavior. So I could have chose to fight that guy, or risk the consequences of not getting to see my mother that weekend. So for me, the reward was being able to go see my mother and just take it, and as the Bible says, turn the other cheek. And I had to make a decision at that point. And that's how it's going to be in life. You're going to go down roads. You know, you can either make this decision or you can make that decision. And I had to make the decision. And my mother was more important to me, to get to go see her, than fight that kid to, stand up. I'd get him back, because I knew we were going to play a sport, and I was going to kick his butt. No matter, I didn't care what. We were going to play basketball, I was going to whoop him. We're going to play football, I'm going to hit him, I'm going to tackle him, and he's going to know he's not going to hit me again. I wasn't going to punch him in the mouth to risk getting to go see my mom that weekend. But it was, they provided a reward system. It's kind of like life. You know, you make good decisions, you do good things, you get rewarded well. You make bad decisions and you do bad things, it doesn't go so well. You might have some small, minimal, immediate rewards, but long term, it's not rewards. But yeah, it was a merit system, and I had to make a decision. You got to do it in life every day. You guys do it in school every day. You do it first thing in the morning every day. When you wake up, you say, I'm going to class or I'm not going to class. Every day. That's the decision you make every day. And, you know, I just had to choose. I had to make the right decision.
Who's next? Any more questions?
I have a question. In your business, were there ever difficult times?
When was there not? Anytime we deal with people and employees, it's not easy. But yeah, you know, one of the things were, because now I'm an employee, our company is the fourth largest insurance company in the United States. We do about $6 billion a year in revenue. We got about 10,000 employees. Our company was about 20 employees. So one of the difficult things we had was we wanted to operate at a high level, and just the limitations that we had from the financial assets to have the resources we needed. And to help us, we knew we could, the insurance is insurance. I don't care if Google's selling it or Kate or Steve down the street on the corner selling it. If it's insurance, the coverage. So now there's some factors of what the company's rated and things like that, but insurance is insurance, and there's this perception that you've got to be with this huge company because it's somehow better than we were as a 20-person company. But we can compete with any of them. One of the things that we prided ourselves on, we still do today, is we provide the best customer service experience of anyone in the industry. 10,000 large to the mom and pa's. We're the best in the industry at that. And but overcoming that hurdle of the little guy versus the big guy, that was challenging. It's always a challenge. And just employee issues are difficult. You know, when you're small and like we have a backup system, like each one of our ladies, that's what's called a customer service rep that provides support system to the sales force. They have a backup. Well, kids get sick, parents get sick, they get sick, and then if you get two of them out at the wrong time, at the same time, it's difficult. So we don't have that now. I mean, we have a global support system now, which is nice. And I'll tell you, everyone thinks business don't everybody think owning a business would be great? Who wants to own a business? Like, yeah, it's awesome. We can make all this money, and there's a lot of headaches. How come the copy machine don't work? How come the internet's not working today? That little circle on my computer just keeps going like this, and I can't get no work done. I mean, the rewards can be nice, but don't think it's going to come without a whole heck of a lot of headaches. And anytime you deal with people and personalities, everyone's different. They don't all think like you. You can't talk to them like maybe you want to talk to. Like I talk to Coach a heck of a lot different than I talk to one of my salespeople, you know, and it's different. So it is rewarding. I would never discourage you from doing it. Just be prepared that it's not sunshine and rainbows, and be willing to understand there's going to be a lot of long nights and long days, because when you're the owner, it's going to fail or succeed on your engagement within the business. You've got to be there. You've got to be involved. When that problem happens, you've got to take care of it. We weren't luxury enough to have an IT division. I was IT. And I was supplies. So, you know, I got to go to Sam's and get pop for the fridge in the employee kitchen. So, I mean, there are things that you have to do that are tough. But it's good. You know, I like taking care of people. So if I can help them, I want to help. For sure, I'm going to help my staff out for anyone else, right? I mean, they're the gears of the operation. Without them, what I know and what I do doesn't mean anything. I mean, they're the people that work for you are the ones that make that thing work. You should always make sure they're taken care of before yourself. Always make sure they're taken care of before yourself. And there were times that I would not take commission checks just because I want to give them a bonus. I felt it was important. You know, they had done things to help me be successful financially, so I can afford to not take a month's check, and I want to divvy my check out the month to my employees, and that's what I do. But you know what? If I'm willing to make those sacrifices for them, think what they're willing to do for me and our business. It wasn't about our business. It was about me. It was about our business. Willing to do what it took for our business and make sure it was successful. It was a team approach. I mean, it's no different than having a soccer team or a football team. You know, Trish, she's the center. Debbie, she's playing wide receiver. Brittany, she's our running back, and I'm the quarterback. If we all don't work together, we don't succeed. So, and I've got to take care of them, and they got to take care of me every day. Now, and I'll tell you this, I'll give you this. If you want to be a good, effective leader and a good business leader, always give praise to your employees and don't worry about them giving praise to you. Don't worry about you getting the praise. Give them the praise. It goes a long ways. That from my experience in that. Yeah. Share those accolades. Give those accolades to those employees.
All right. Good words of advice. Anybody else before we take our break? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we've got a couple more. Go ahead.
So whenever you started paying that certain commission plan and you started rising up to the occasion, how did that go about whenever the first two when the first two came down? So how did you start paying that, or they brought it up for you to start paying that certain commission plan to those?
Well, so the way it works in the insurance, you're going to get paid a flat commission. Doesn't matter so that's not true. So a salesperson, if I sell a policy, depending on what it is, just say I'm going to get that policy pays 10%. So I'm going to get paid 10% of the premium. So if I sell a $10,000 policy, I'm going to get $1,000 commission. And 10% is pretty standard in the commercial side. That's probably 8's probably the low, but it can be anywhere between 15 and 20% too, depending on the product. So I get that every year. So if I sold you, I cover your building, your business building, and I cover it, and it's $10,000. Every year I renew that, I get paid $1,000. So I have your building, then I go over here, and I get so-and-so's building, so-and-so's building. So then I build that book up. So then I'm getting, every year I renew those. Plus, you know, every business has different exposures. Like every business is going to have property exposure. Every business is going to have liability exposure. Without getting into the weeds, on liability, you're going to have what's called products and completed liability. So whatever you make or whatever you're selling is a product. And so you're going to have exposure for that it's not going to hurt someone or cause them bodily injury or property damage. And then you'll have maybe what's an umbrella. If you have employees, you're going to have what's called workers' compensation, depending on what state you're in. If you're in Texas, they have what's called it's a different plan. It's more of a health plan than it is a workers' comp plan. There are some what's called monopolistic states, and you have to purchase insurance directly from the state on workers' comp. But you're going to have. So if you're a business owner, let's say you own say you own a heating and air company. You're a heat and air guy. Well, I'm going to have to write you auto coverage because you have trucks. I got to insure those. I'm going to have to insure your building that you office out, that you work out of. I've got to insure your liability. So if you blow someone's house up, that we have coverage for the property damage or bodily injury covered. I'm going to write you an umbrella that sits over to give you some expanded limits then I'm gonna write your workers' compensation coverage. And I'll also, and some other products, maybe an insulation floater or things like that, I'd write you. But so I just wrote you 7 policies, right? You add those premiums up and more of commission, that's one account. And that's what you pay commissions on that one account. Then I go get another account, another account, and another account. And I build that book of business. And every year I do it, I get paid residual. Like if I'm selling purifiers, I gotta go sell 100 this year, 100 next year, 100 next year, 100 not this. If I get 100 accounts, I can keep 100 accounts and make me a good living with residual income. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering, your people who work for that you are sorry. Do you share with them when you are so benevolent with them, or you let it sometimes be anonymous, making sure they get paid first?
No, I don't
Try
tell
to be-
them. I don't tell
You're
them.
very humble about it.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, money to me is,
It's very gracious.
I just want to make sure,
Keep
I
them
just want to
happy.
help people, because I know there's a lot of people that's helped me.
And we offer.
Even though Jimmy Heiser still owes me money over here, I'm not worried about money. That's the only money I'm worried about is what Coach Heiser owes me from the national tournament. But,
And we have a class in insurance.
hey, also too, when I was in college, we didn't have no NIL money. I was the first national champ. Don't you think Coach Makos owes me some NIL money from then? That's right. I need some NIL money.
No money here.
So at least something, a pizza or something, dadgum. But no. Did you say we do have insurance classes? Yeah. Anybody in insurance class? I tell you, you're missing the boat. It's a fall class. Okay, well, listen, the average age in the industry is 65 years old. That's average. So they're getting out. And there's a lot of opportunity. And it's not just sales. There's, you can work on the company side. You could be an underwriter. There's all things within insurance industry that you can work in. That's not just, if you're uncomfortable with face-to-face sales, you can go and work within the industry. Actuarial. You can go be an actuarial that does, I know there's data analytics and stuff. You can do loss ratios and be on the loss side. There's a lot of things you can do. A lot of things. You can be on the risk management side if we have safety management. There's a lot of things you can do within the insurance industry. Whole gamut. Google Travelers Insurance job openings, or Google Liberty Mutual job openings. Hartford, Columbia, all the top 10 insurance companies, and look at their job openings. Look at my company. Google Alliant Insurance Services and see what jobs are open. If you find one you like, email me. I'll get you connected and see if we can get you guys hooked up. I don't mind helping. We have a lot of them. I just don't know what they are. So I'm just trying not to get fired, like I said, for 3 years. So I've got a 3-year deal. I'm just trying not to get fired. And
All right, well, let's give Steve another round of applause. Did a fantastic job. Thank you, Steve. We'll take a short break. Again, we'll have lunch later, and we'll also have some breakout sessions to ask some more questions. So let's take a little break, and we'll get ready for our next speaker.